We're now discussing the second section of Chapter 1 on organization of the human body for anatomy and physiology. This is a very short section, and we'll probably bleed right into Section 3 for this little short video. And we're actually referring to, in this little short section for anatomy and physiology, how the studies of form and function are interrelated, or the complementary nature of form and function, anatomy and physiology. And from a standpoint of anatomy and physiology, the integration of these disciplines is really the easiest way to learn about the information. You really can't fully understand function if you don't understand form. You really can't fully grasp the concepts that are involved with in a particular organ or organism's functions if you don't understand the form. Likewise, if you adapt or change form, it'll affect function. If somehow you do something that affects function, it's going to over time affect the form. And so either way, they're very much interrelated. That complementary nature, or the principle of complementary nature of structure and function, is essentially what we're referring to, or structure and form, or form and function, if you will. Okay. Both disciplines must use information from the other field. It's just simple as that. Form follows function. Anatomical structures are designed to perform their specific function. Your stomach, your heart, your muscles, all have very specific functions, and they are based on their design. From the standpoint of some individuals genetically are able to do different things, or may have more likely, higher probability toward certain diseases, is often related to form, to structure, how their body is designed, how the structure is affected both over time through life, as well as genetic differences among many changes that can occur over the course of a lifetime as well. Without a thorough knowledge of anatomical structure, physiologists simply cannot truly understand structure's function. Okay, and so really, what you should be able to do is compare and contrast how anatomists and physiologists specifically describe the small intestine or any organ specifically to be able to break down what's going on and how form affects that function, or function affects that form. That's going to take us right into section 1.3, third section of chapter 1. This is really about how to study anatomy and physiology effectively. It might seem like one of those sections you want to skip over, but the reality is it's too vital not to. If you follow these guidelines, honestly, truth be known, not only will you do well on anatomy and physiology from a standpoint of understanding the material, get a good grade, be a high probability of seeing either at least a high B, if not an A in the course, but certainly setting or paving the way for much easier transition toward whatever area of science or what usage you're going to use the science for in your future career or for the rest of your undergraduate or graduate work. Okay. You should be able to describe the best practices for studying anatomy and physiology effectively after reviewing this little section. First and foremost, you should schedule regular daily study sessions, studying something every day. We know this is practice with sport, this is practice with any skill, and this is a skill. Learning is a skill. It's not often talked about that way, but it is. Students who are really good, generally speaking, at school or in learning, or do well in school and get good grades, workers who are efficient at their jobs, are very consistent about how they do work because they do it consistently, or at least they've done it the same way for a long period of time, so it seems to have honed that pattern. And we'll talk more about how that affects physiology, not only how it affects your ability to study and learn about physiology and the anatomy. Okay. Multiple short study sessions are really the ideal. You really shouldn't be studying more than about 20-25 minutes at a time without a 5-10 minute break when you're trying to really study and really engross yourself in the information, because you really have to. There's just too much information in this textbook and these concepts. Understanding everything about form and function of the body is extensive, and there's just no way around the fact that's going to take you a lot of time. If you look at the syllabus, it gives you an idea of the expectation of time for each section. Now, this can vary depending upon your background or your skill level or your ability to learn things quickly. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't put in that amount of time, the probability of you doing well in class is highly unlikely. And the first likelihood of us looking at what you're putting into it time-wise as to why you may be getting a grade you don't think you're happy about, or you're not learning the material. Okay. Minimize distractions when you study. That seems like an obvious point, but finding a place where you can study that you're not going to be distracted. A lot of people put their headphones on somewhere where they can focus. That's fine, but find a place where you're comfortable studying this. It's just too much information. And active learning methods are ideal. Organizing material in tables. I'm one of those people, I hate drawing. I hate making tables. I hate doing that stuff. I don't like it. Nothing enjoyable about it whatsoever. But when I sit there and take the time to do it, I go, oh yeah, it's much clearer now. It makes more sense in my brain. I understand it better. It's crucial to do so. Drawing and label anatomic structures. So try to draw the pictures yourself, looking at the different figures in the textbook. with the online version or the hardbound, whatever you're using for your primary reading, and actually trying to draw them yourself to be able to get a better understanding of what's going on in terms of form, anatomy, and then having a better understanding, therefore, of function as well once you understand form, and vice versa. Flowcharts describing physiology, or actually diagrams with arrows coming out of different areas and subsets, quizzing yourself repeatedly, explaining it to someone else. These are obvious points, but the people who do well, this is what they do. Studying with a partner or group, finding people who are very interested in really getting this information down and done well, at least weekly, perhaps more than once a week. Okay. Utilizing textbook resources. You have extensive resources in McGraw-Hill. When you explore fully your online McGraw-Hill access, you'll find there's a lot of resources that can use for greater information than just the text itself, explanations for the text, getting much more breakdown through PowerPoints and lectures, things like that. Some of the information I'm using here, it's all there for you too. Okay. Concept connection boxes, concept overview figures, doing assessments at the end of the chapter, going through the questions. I tend to be one of those people tends to kind of ignore that and move on, read the chapter and go to class and hope I get lucky. And most time in life I was fortunate that way. But when information in a class like this is just too much, you can't do it that way. You can't wing it anymore. Okay. And all the textbook resources are all there for you at McGraw-Hill to be able to look up, and you'll see more about that when you explore McGraw-Hill online access for the text. Okay. As far as why would studying with a partner be more effective than just studying alone? Well, when you can fully teach it, as you know, then that really shows that you learn it. If you can explain to someone who doesn't understand, even better. If you explain to someone who doesn't take this course and they get it and they go, oh, that makes sense, then that is something that you can be sure about is you're improving in your own knowledge level and your own understanding, ability to apply the information once you can teach it and help someone synthesize and evaluate the information, not just memorize, right? And that said, we're going to move right into section 1.4 next.